Bom dia. It's my great privilege to be the opening speaker for our event this morning. And I've been asked to talk to you on behalf of an initiative that was started between the American Academy of Forensic Sciences and the Brazilian Academy of Forensic Sciences about 4 years ago. And this is a new initiative. We're still finding out what resources are most important and the highest priority to share, and what the greatest needs are, and how we can both help each other's organizations. So the title of my presentation is about building bridges, and that's the goal of this new initiative. So in thinking about this event and InterForensics, and looking through the program and understanding the goals of the organization, InterForensics, and I focused on the part of inter of the name, is truly from the information on the website and from the organizations and agencies that are represented as interdisciplinary in terms of reflecting the many different scientific specialties within forensic science. Interagency, from federal, state police agencies and professional organizations, government organizations that support forensic science. I'm going to be focusing on the international aspect of it and also an intergenerational aspect of it. One of the programs I'll talk about is our focus on the future of forensic science and bringing tomorrow's leaders into the workings of our respective organizations. So we're in an environment always of change, and that's no different for the forensic sciences. Our evidence is increasingly under more scrutiny in the court, which is not a bad thing. The attorneys are better educated about forensic science. They know better how to ask questions about its provenance, about its reliability. We've become aware, certainly in the United States, since the issuance of the National Academy of Sciences report in 2009, of some of the limitations of the science, or some missing science from some of our disciplines. And we're making changes in the way that we adopt science and validate science for its use in the courts. We've also been made aware through some of the new initiatives, collaboration initiatives with behavioral scientists, about the potential impact of bias, unconscious bias, in the way we approach casework. And in some disciplines and agencies, we're starting to introduce methods and safeguards to reduce the impact of bias. The forensic sciences in the United States have very much embraced the idea of accreditation of organizations to improve the quality of work that's done and to set the bar that reduces the risk of errors being made and makes us aware of errors when they do occur, and of personal certification, so recognizing the skills of individuals who've achieved a level of proficiency in their particular discipline as reliable witnesses and qualified witnesses to testify in court. And come to an appreciation, certainly, of the cost of doing things wrong. So when we use not fully validated science, or we discover limitations of the science, there's definitely a cost of that. Very often fixing those things, there's certainly a cost associated with that too. And that continues to be a challenge for forensic science in finding the resources, the research funds, and the operational funds for us to implement all the things we would like to do to move forensic science forward. We have made progress. Organizations are now certifying individuals as experts in various disciplines. In the United States, the National Institute for Standards and Technology, or NIST, within our Department of Commerce, launched an initiative, the Organization of Scientific Area Committees in Forensic Science, which is starting the long and involved process of creating standards for the uniform practice of key activities and key processes in the major forensic science disciplines. And that's a very interdisciplinary effort. There are over 25 committees or subcommittees within the OSEC that are now starting to produce these documents that are recognized by the communities as best practices. We've incorporated more information into the way we write reports about some of the limitations and uncertainty in measurements and quantitative measurements that we make in forensic science. We're certainly making progress in terms of new technology in many of our disciplines. And within the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, we have a strong link now between academic institutions, research universities, and practitioners in forensic science to create a pipeline and a source for tomorrow's forensic scientists who are educated and qualified to be proficient and experts in their disciplines. Some of the challenges are that we face with respect to the expectations of the courts in terms of how we prove the validity of our science. Certainly the quality that we've implemented in our laboratories and in our organizations comes with a price tag. And when we spend money on quality, frequently we're not spending money on capacity. So one of the challenges in the United States we face are significant backlogs in our public forensic science laboratories. So we now also, because of our academic collaborations, are aware of better ways to do things and some of the new technologies that can help move us forward. But the lack of funding, particularly at the state level, makes the incorporation or adoption of some of these new technologies more difficult. And there is still a gap between innovation and research and forensic science best practices. How do we get the information and ideas and breakthroughs that are happening in academic settings and universities, whether specifically forensic or not in their origins, and adapt and adopt these into our best practices in forensic science. And then increasingly also a recognition that while accreditation sets the bar, accreditation is not a guarantee of quality. It's a tool that helps us move in that direction. And in many laboratories now, we're looking beyond just the minimum standards for accreditation to find better ways of error reduction in forensic science casework. So moving forward, we recognize the multidisciplinary nature of forensics. We can all learn from one another within disciplines and between agencies, and as I'll make my case today, internationally, learning from each other's mistakes and solutions, sharing best practices, creating organizations that strongly support mentorship and learning of younger people entering the profession, a way to recognize the contributions of leadership in our professional organizations, just as was done in the opening ceremony this morning. And then a recognition that science, forensic science, should know no borders, and that's a sub-theme I know that will be addressed later on in our conference here. So how do we make these things happen? We can certainly do things as individuals, we can do these as things within our individual agencies, but we can also do that through professional organizations. And I was privileged to meet many colleagues from Brazil over the last 6 years, both through visits to your country and also hosting and supporting forensic scientists from Brazil at our institution. And I got to know the leadership of both state police and federal police forensic science organizations, and had the opportunity to talk to them about the activities of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. Some were already members, some had attended meetings, and we discussed the opportunity to have the American Academy of Forensic Sciences support the newly formed Brazilian Academy of Forensic Sciences. And the Brazilian Academy was formed in 2012, and from its website, these are its goals: to contribute to the development of forensic science in the country, to guarantee justice and human rights by various kinds of activities: professional development, training, seminars, symposia, scientific research and the publication of that research, cultural exchange, promoting participation of Brazilian and international experts in education and knowledge exchange worldwide, development of forensic science legislation, and collaborations between practicing laboratories and academics in Brazil and internationally. And these goals are actually very well aligned with the goals of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. So that organization has been around since 1948 and currently has over 7,000 members, including about 700 members internationally. So we really try to live the idea that we are an international organization and have something to offer our international colleagues. And our goals are to promote professionalism, integrity, and competency within our practices and disciplines, to promote education and research, to improve the practice of forensic science, to promote interdisciplinary communications, and to plan, organize, and administer meetings. So I hope you see a lot of concordance or a lot of overlap between the goals and objectives of both of our organizations. The American Academy does represent scientists from state government, from federal government, from academic institutions, from private laboratories. So we try to have a lot of in our interactions within the American Academy. And we do hold an annual meeting, which draws typically over 5,000 attendees. And the focus of that is to encourage networking and professional development, making personal contacts, awarding achievement and accomplishment and growth in forensic science, supporting the dissemination and publication of research through our journal, and specifically international collaboration as one of our goals. Within the bylaws of the American Academy of Forensic Science is a provision to recognize our international partners as association academies. And in 2016, the Brazilian Academy of Forensic Sciences became the first association academy, or sister academies as we like to call them, affiliated with the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. And that was an achievement, and we got a great deal of help from some of the leaders in your organization, from Jean Ambrosio, from Buchmiller. And we had formed the idea and created the idea, and then the work started after that of figuring out what does that mean in practice. How do we take that new relationship, that new recognition, and make it into something more tangible. The goals of our association academies are the things that are reflected in our objectives. Networking and collaboration, growing interactions and networking between the leadership of our organizations, joint presentations at our respective conferences. Just as I was invited to speak here today, we're making invitations to the leadership of Brazilian organizations to our academy meetings. Scientific and cultural exchange, collaboration and research, and then I think for me personally, very importantly, engagement of our young scientists. So what have we achieved so far? Through my particular institution, the Center for Forensic Science Research and Education, we've had a number of pilot initiatives. Another important partner who can support these opportunities are the instrument vendors and the people who develop and provide us with our technology. We had a collaboration between the Civil Police of the Federal District, one of our scientists at our center, and Agilent Technologies in the development of screening technology for serological evidence using high-performance liquid chromatography and tandem mass spectrometry. So an innovative new technique for sexual assault evidence screening that was partially developed in the United States and then actually first implemented here in the Federal District Police in Brasilia. We've had visitors from a number of institutions, including academic institutions, who've come through our laboratory. And we're very interested in starting to find other host organizations or agencies within the United States who are willing to take visitors, forensic science colleagues from Brazil, into their laboratory for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months, depending on what their resources and capacities and needs are. So we last year completed a survey of American forensic science laboratories, and we have a list of about 18 laboratories who've indicated that they would be very happy to host our Brazilian colleagues for scientific exchange. We're working to do joint publications between our respective universities. We have a collaboration with University of Sao Paulo, Ribeirão Preto, and have published with them. And we're hoping to, through the exchange program, encourage additional research collaboration and publication. Growing leadership relationships. I've been privileged to be both at the first and second InterForensics conference now. One of our other past presidents, Betty Lane Desportes, spoke at the last InterForensics meeting. Dr. Zeno Jarats is here with us this week. He's the current president of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences and will address the group later. And we also have my colleague, Dr. Jerry Ropera Miller, who will be the incoming president of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences, who is here on our international exchange program this week and attending the InterForensics conference. So I hope that speaks to the commitment of the American Academy to fully engage with our Brazilian colleagues and do whatever we can to help with the growth of the Brazilian Academy. It's a two-way exchange. We had our first Brazil-focused content at the American Academy's meeting in Baltimore in February of this year, where we had Professor Samuel Ferreira, Fernando Marcelo Mendes, Fabio Salvador, and João Carlos Ambrosio as a panel to explain to members of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences the state of forensic science in Brazil, so we have a good understanding of what the opportunities are for future collaborative activities. I mentioned the visit from Zeno Jarats and Jerry Miller and a party of about 20 forensic professionals from the United States who are attending InterForensics this week. And then we'll also visit both state and federal police laboratories through the remainder of the visit into early next week. This international exchange program has been run by the American Academy for a number of years as a way of creating new relationships and building bridges between our international partners. The AAFS also, about 5 years ago, started a new initiative in humanitarian and human rights, which is designed to bring to bear the expertise of forensic professionals in the investigation internationally of human rights violations. And that group receives funding from the United States, from the Department of Justice, and some of that funding then goes to support human rights initiatives with a forensic science focus internationally. And this year, one of those funding awards has gone to Dr. Claudio Plants at Federal University here in Sao Paulo to do some work on building up human rights through professional qualification and research in forensic anthropology in Brazil. So to the last portion of our achievements to date, we decided that it's certainly important to make connections between the leadership of our organizations, but tomorrow's leaders are the people who are entering the field today. And so with collaboration from the APCF and the Brazilian Academy, our Center for Forensic Science Research and Education, and now the AAFS Forensic Sciences Foundation, we've created a number of scholarships for young Brazilian scientists to attend the American Academy of Forensic Sciences meeting in the United States, and for young scientists from the US, members of the Academy, also to come to Brazil to participate in meetings like InterForensics. Our first awardee was Dr. Kyra Stoll from University of Nevada in Reno, who presented at InterForensics 2017, and Ms. Bailey Harrington from Lincoln University in the UK, who also presented at the last InterForensics meeting. And their participation was supported by APCF and our center. we were able to arrange our first reciprocal scholarship, which was awarded in February of this year to Ms. Ana Luisa Cueros from the Federal University of Minas Gerais. And she came to Baltimore and had her participation in that meeting supported with a scholarship from our center in Philadelphia. And then, as you'll hear some more in the course of the next few days, with the partnership between the Brazilian Academy, the American Academy, and the Fredric Rieders Foundation, we've been able to support 3 young scientists to attend the InterForensics meeting here in Sao Paulo this week, and they'll be recognized later on. What's in the future for our group? We've brainstormed about a number of different ideas and ways to showcase the achievements of Brazilian forensic science in the United States. We have a committee meeting of Brazilian and American partners during the American Academy's meeting each year. The Academy hosts an international attendees reception where all international delegates are invited to come and meet members of the board of the organization and leaders in our organization. And we're planning to propose a workshop that would be presented in Anaheim, California, at the next AAFS meeting in February 2020, focusing on the Brumadinho dam collapse and trying to find expertise or getting input from expertise from the Brazilian experts who helped with those identifications and with that investigation. Activities for the future. Again, we've taken input from the leadership of the Brazilian Academy and discussed the opportunity to provide training and workshops and collaborations that promote accreditation and certification and how that can be expanded and delivered in Brazil. We are hoping to see engagement with the medical examiner community. The medical examiners, death investigators are a big part of the membership of the American Academy of Forensic Sciences. And since we're truly a multidisciplinary profession and organization, we're very interested in making introductions or contacts between Brazilian death investigation agencies and US death investigators. We like to find ways to promote collaborations between US and Brazilian universities, potentially applying for international grant funding that would support these collaborative projects. And we're hoping to do a joint training event orchestrated or developed by the Brazilian Academy with input from the American Academy of Forensic Sciences members here in Brazil in 2020. And then our last activity, we are pleased to announce that we're going to continue our practice of supporting engagement by young scientists by offering scholarships for 2 Brazilian young scientists to attend the AAFS meeting in Anaheim. And those will be sponsored by my institute and by the ABCF. So the title of the talk was Building Bridges, something that both our countries have done very well, and we're hoping to continue to grow this initiative that was started just a few years ago, but I think already has some promise for creating stronger and long-term relationships and collaborations between the forensic sciences in Brazil and the United States. So thank you very much.